Damon, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, like I said, I have so many questions, so we're just going to get right to it. You are a marketer extraordinaire, creator of the Black Business Directory in Knoxville and Montgomery, Alabama. So tell me, how did you even decide that you were going to be the one to create the directory and harness all these people into this thing?
So do you want I'll give you the good story, and then I can tell you the other part. Okay. But no, actually during COVID, I realized, like, when COVID happened, there's an immediate shutdown.
Right.
And people can think back, like March happened, and then everything was like, stop.
Silence.
Like, stop.
Yep.
And so being a marketing person, I knew, like, small and medium companies, if they're not driving people online, like, they can't drive people to the stores.
Yeah.
So, like, they were going to get their butt kicks. And so there was a lot of information started coming out in Forbes and stuff about what was going to happen to the Black community. And Black businesses were going to projected to lose half of their businesses during that period of time.
Wow.
And so I was saying to myself, like, what could I do? And so I was like, what if there was a centralized location that you could find Black-owned businesses, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a simple thought.
It is.
But
it
it wasn't there before, right? And so decided to create the directory and just got after it, during COVID and launched that October of COVID, and then just, and it's been on and cracking ever since.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's such a resource. I feel like when I'm traveling, I think that's the first thing I look for is like, okay, where are the Black businesses? Where can I go and support local, small Black businesses? And so for Knoxville to have that, it's super huge. I think we all thank you. Thank you for being the one.
Well, I mean, keep supporting. I mean, it's right. It's such a simple idea. Like, why hasn't this been done before? Right.
Right.
Like, but I was like, I have the chops to do it. And so I just did it. And at this point, we were, you start from zero, but at this point we're over 200 plus Black-owned businesses and growing every day. Like, every week I go in the back end and see, new signups, et cetera. And it's always more.
It's exciting.
And so, yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then, okay, so you also started the Montgomery Black Business Directory. What are some, like, unique things about those different communities? I mean, do they operate kind of similarly or differently?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. No. So launched Montgomery last year in December. And the city is different in that it's about 64% Black. Right?
That's very different.
Versus this city.
That's very different.
So while you may interact with more Black people, the business community is still fragmented, if that makes sense. Right. And so a little bit slower growing, but getting there, like getting faster, like it's speeding up now. It's hit that tipping point where it's starting to like really grow.
The word's getting around. People are getting on there.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Absolutely.
And you're from Alabama, right?
Yep, from Montgomery. Yeah, I grew up there. So like it was
back to your.
Yeah, I went to my roots. It's a city that I grew up in, and so I know what it's like to be I don't know what it's like to be in business there.
Right.
But I interact with businesses there and have my whole life, right? Like, so I thought it would be important to take some of my talent home. So.
What did you come to Knoxville in search of? What were you looking for when you moved here?
I wasn't searching for anything because my fiance at the time said, hey, do you want to move to Knoxville? And so her job moved her here, and we were dating and like we were fiancéed. So like I was like, all right, let's go to Knoxville. So I wasn't looking for anything.
Ready for an adventure.
Yeah.
Just open.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got here and was like, what the hell?
Did you have any? Had you ever visited?
Nope.
You had no idea what you were getting into.
Been to Gatlinburg. This interesting thing. I've been to Gatlinburg, right? Like, so I knew Gatlinburg. I knew, like, but when she's, Nashville, Memphis. But when she said Knoxville, I was like, where is Knoxville? where is that place?
Yeah.
Like it didn't register.
Place it on the map.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
funny.
but came here and, been here 20 years or so.
Dang.
And made a decent
the time
life.
flew?
Knoxville's a place where you say, oh, I'm only going to be there for 2 years,
Right.
5 years.
Look up and it's a decade later.
Yeah.
I know. I feel
So,
that.
it's all good. I like it here. I enjoy it here. It's been a good city.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, Knoxville, the maker city.
Yeah.
I know that you're involved in that community of creatives. You've been at the summit. You're going to be speaking at the upcoming summit.
Yes.
But I'm curious to know, like, what is it like working with and kind of helping creatives understand, like, hey, you can pursue your passion, but you also need to make your business work. Like, do the marketing part. You have to do this thing too.
Creatives are hard, right? Like, creatives are a hard bunch to get to understand the business of business because their brains are wired for the artistic portion of what they, a guy who gets into a zone and paints a beautiful masterpiece is not thinking about accounting.
Taxes, no.
Yeah, his brain just doesn't work like that.
No.
So, like, explaining to people like how to do that stuff it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. And so I tell them to always outsource as much as they can.
Hey, that's
because
wise.
you
can't be everything. Yeah.
You can't be good at that and good at the other stuff.
It's rare. There's
very,
a few special folks out there that can do it all.
Very rare. Like super rare.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do if you're an artist is to partner with somebody who can do the other stuff for you, which allows you to do your talent, make money from your talent, really spend time in your talent, but also watch those people so that you don't get robbed. Like you hear stories of business managers who've done really horrible things.
I'm wondering too if like creating the directory allows you to kind of foster those collaborations between like creatives and accountants. I mean, I don't know if you hear, testimonials of that, but it's pretty cool to have people in one space.
Well, that's what it's for, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's so that you can create a community around these. I want to create a community around those businesses as well, so that like if they need to find a marketing expert, they can find one. If they need to find an attorney, if they need to find, any services that they need for their business, then it can be there.
Yeah.
And we've done some partnering, and I know people who make calls to other folks and said this guy was very helpful, et cetera.
Right.
And so that's the cool stuff too. Is like now after a couple of years, we're hearing businesses like, man, my website gets crazy amount of traffic just because of the directory, or we've grown X because of our connection to you and organization. We do a coffee kind of networking meeting thing once, like every first Friday. And one of the guys who came to one, I mean, like after that meeting, he made an additional 10 grand because somebody hired him for a quick project.
Wow.
Like, so
that's what you like to see.
Yeah. It made me happy.
Yeah. Tell me about that partnership, because obviously you're like bringing people together in the digital space, but then Black Coffee is in real time, people in space together.
Yep.
You're working with Tanika Harper, Shore Foundation.
Yeah.
How did that collaboration come about?
Well, so I live for collaboration. Like, I don't believe like you should go in the corner and do your own thing. We're in a city that has a smaller Black population, so it doesn't make sense for you to go in the corner with your group of people and followers, et cetera, and go try to do something, and then me over in this corner doing the same thing.
Right. But with fewer numbers.
We've split a smaller population. So how about this? How about we come together? We Voltron it and make a big, for the younger people who've listened, Voltron is this thing that used to come together and make a bigger. So anyway, but like, so partner with Shore, partnering with Tanika, like that's been super cool. We were having a conversation. I think we were just having drinks and a conversation about what we were doing. Yeah. And we discussed like creating some things And I said, well, I'm doing this too. And she said, well, I'm doing it. And we were like, let's do it together. And so every first Friday we meet up. You know, we have a little meetup for Black businesses. We do it 8 a.m. And so for those who can't come in the morning, though, every quarter we do the cocktails and conversation, which is the evening.
I am not a morning person.
Yeah. We get that from people. Like, I don't get up that early.
I try.
But for you people who don't get up early, you know, we have drinks in the evening, come together, and so and network as well. So
very cool.
Yeah, it's happening.
Tell me about being a mentor for the 100 Knoxville program. I know you've done a few rounds. You've had a creative, you've had cleaning business that you were mentoring the founder of. So like, have there been kind of common threads that you
restaurant? I've been there since the beginning of 100 Knox.
Are there common threads that you're able to kind of say like, this applies to anybody? You're a business owner. This is what you need to focus on, or is it pretty unique?
No, it is not unique. It is not unique. And business owners think that their problem is theirs. And when you go to give consultation work to people and they go, well, my business is different. No, your business is not. Every business is about giving good goods and services at a reasonable price, you know, that makes money, that's profitable for you in a way that, you know, represents your company well. And so there are ways to do it, but, you know, I hear guys who are B2B, and that's business to business, always say, well, I'm selling to businesses, but guess who's hiring you on the other side of that business is a person, right? It's a consumer. Yeah. Like, it's a person who's signing the check. It's a person who's saying, I want, you know, this air conditioning service contract. So that's a person. Yeah. And if you can learn to hone in on that target market, then you're able to reach out to anybody. You know, you're able to speak your client's language. And so, you know, it's been a lot of that teaching. But, you know, the thing about mentoring in 100 Knox is you kind of meet a business owner where they are and you help them through their challenges. Yeah. And everybody's not the same in that regard. Like, some people, you know, they've gotten, they're further along, or they've gotten to a significant level where they want to now look at the future and say, this is where I'm going. I want to tail off or get ready to sell or something to that effect.
How did you get into entrepreneurship?
I was always, like, for me, I was always the kid who, like, was selling something.
Really?
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
shoes, like secondhand?
No. Well, I'm older than, so, like, no. I was selling, like, in elementary school, I was selling, like, now-laters, stuff like that. Okay. Like, I would take a pack that cost, you know, $0.25, and I realized, see this. Okay, I remember the story. I remember it exactly when it happened. So I was eating some now-laters.
Yeah. At the age of?
It was elementary school. Okay. And I wasn't supposed to have candy. I remember that much. So, because I was like sneaking them, and then I like pop it, and so this guy next to me was like, "Hey man, what you got?" I was like, "I got now-laters." He said, "I want one." I was like, "Give me $0.25." Well, I bought the pack for $0.25.
The whole pack.
The pack had like 6 or 7 in there. So I was like, I was the man. So, like, I was always that kind of kid, like, always. Yeah. And then just growing up, I knew that I wanted to be in business, right? I just knew it since the beginning of time. And so, you know, I kind of went to college with the aspect of looking at a career in regards to how it will be helpful when I walk away to start my own business.
Interesting. That's a very interesting perspective.
Yeah.
So you didn't like major in entrepreneurship or anything. You were just like
finance.
That's what
I majored in finance.
Okay.
Because I wanted to understand how, like, money really worked.
Yeah.
I said to myself, once I understand this, I can, you know, then invest, et cetera, et cetera.
Do whatever.
And I can learn the entrepreneur stuff as I go along. Because you can go to classes and you can learn things, but entrepreneurship doesn't happen in a book. Yeah. Like, it just doesn't. I mean, you can read concepts and theories and figure out how to do things, but you don't know how to do it until you're fighting. Like, you just don't know. Like, you just don't know, right? You can open up a wonderful restaurant, get all the projections and do all the things right. And what if the city starts doing construction on the road that your restaurant is on, which happens?
Yeah.
Then what do? You got to figure out a marketing strategy to get people into the store, into your restaurant, or find a way to deliver them,
right,
whatever they order in an effective way. Right? You can't find that in a book. There is no chapter that talks about that kind of stuff.
Contingency plans.
Yeah. So, business is a lot of trial and error. So you're going down a road blind and you don't know. You don't know until you have a problem, and then you're like, and then you're making mistakes like the entire time.
Yeah.
Like, it's a tough thing. But that's why it's always good to connect with people who've been in business for a while, because they've been down roads that and they've made mistakes. And so they can give you advice on, I've seen that before, and that was a challenge for me, and, can help you out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I also feel like in having your own business, you're like hustling and trying, just like, making sure that you are actually making money, to the point of like, sometimes you forget why you got into it. Or am I actually still pursuing that, core passion of mine, or am I just like out here making money?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, as a business owner, if you've experienced that, and how do you recenter yourself?
So it's interesting that you said that, because it does happen, right? Like, you say, okay, I'm going to get into this thing or whatever, and you start going down the road, and you may go, I don't like this at all. Plus, when your money and your family, and you're feeding your family, and you're paying your mortgage, your car notes, like,
right.
And you can't just
on the back.
right? Like, you got to put it on the back burner to make money. And sometimes you're making money, or you're working with a client like you don't like. You're working with a client you don't like just to get a paycheck to move on to the next project or something. Or you're working with somebody and they're a challenge, and I'm saying challenge in a good way.
Sweet way.
Yes, they're a challenge, and you're like, God, I got to get past this person. I hate, and so it's tough. But for me, I'm in a space now in my career and in the business that I am in, where I get to work with people that I like.
Yeah.
And it's cool because we get to build together, if that makes sense.
I feel like you have been able to be, in many different ways, a champion for champions. Like, people are, trying to pursue their dreams and get to where they're going, and you're just like coming alongside and coaching. So that's a really cool role.
Yeah, I'm a big cheerleader. I'm a cheerleader for other folks. Like, I think one way to fix the challenges in the Black community is to have more business owners. And those business owners grow big businesses,
right?
Because people typically hire, no matter what it is, if it's a medium-sized business, it grows locally. Even if it goes from medium to huge, right? They're hiring people that they go to church with, people that they know from a neighborhood, in a community. And so businesses end up stabilizing communities.
They do.
And that's a dope thing, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool to be a part of that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So I believe you should just pour into that.
Yeah. Tell me one way that the community of Knoxville can support what you're doing. What's something that you would ask of the folks?
I would say go to the director. Right? Like, always go to the directory. No, actually say go to the directory. But, be conscious in how you spend your money, and spend some of that money with Black-owned businesses, right? Yeah. Like, we talk buy American,
right.
But buy local, but buy Black, right? Like, make that a conscious thing. And so, because the more Black businesses grow, the more the community grows. The more the community grows, the more the city grows. Mm-hmm. This is not an isolated, like, zero-sum game. Oh, I'm helping those people. And, like, but those people are part of our overall community. Yeah. So the larger businesses get in Knoxville, the bigger Knoxville becomes, the better Knoxville becomes. And so,
Okay. Buy Black Knox.
Exactly.
Hashtag.
All day. Exactly. That is the hashtag. Hashtag Buy Black Knox, right?
Nice. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming to talk with me.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is awesome.